Hi, I'm Arthur Nolan, and welcome to Making It Work. And welcome to Making It Work. Today our program is going to deal with brotherly love. And it's going to be interesting, and we ask that you sit back, relax, and most importantly, listen to the dialogue that you will hear here today. Let me introduce our guests today. I have Edward, Tony, and I have Jesse. Edward, can you give us some insight on how you guys are related?
First, Jesse, he's my youngest brother. He's the baby. Everybody loves him. Tony, he's the next guy in line. Tony came along later. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And I'm the oldest. We live in Detroit, Michigan. Right now, we're in the metro Detroit area. We all don't live in the inner city anymore.
Okay.
Well, I do, but they don't. In a nutshell, that's what it is.
And at one point, you were living out of the city, right? I mean, you were living out of the state.
No, that wasn't me. That was my youngest brother, Jesse.
All right. So why don't you give us some insight about that? You know, where you were living?
I was living in Lexington, Kentucky. I went down there in 2006 for Toyota. I was a robot technician down there. And I did a lot of traveling, Texas, Canada, Indiana. That's pretty much it, dealing with Toyota. Now I'm back here, still working with Toyota. I work out in Saline, Michigan, and I am a chassis design engineer for them now. So I work in the wheel group.
Excellent. Tony, what do you do?
I also work for Toyota. It's just as a automotive technician. And right now I have a 4-year-old son who is probably the love of my life, and I got these guys here. And that's pretty much where we are right now at this current juncture. Well, Jesse lives with me now, but he's probably about to be a proud homeowner here in a couple months.
Excellent. Excellent. Nice. And what about you?
I work for Delphi Automotive, and I'm actually I'm their contract. And I work at the Chrysler Tech Center on one of their projects. And
so you guys have a unique situation, right? You know, basically, you both, all three of you are brothers, love each other and really have a good relationship. You know, so give me some insight about how this unity, this unit came together.
Well, it was me and Jesse first, of course. Pretty much a lot of people that are around us know that. My dad, my mom, they separated. It was kind of weird for me at first. My dad met my stepmother, Rita, and she had a son, Tony, which was awesome. I had another brother, or I had another guy to play with, you know. And to me, that was the best thing that can happen. It was weird at first, but, you know, we got along.
How old were you?
We were probably around, I would say, 9, 10. I think that's when it was.
So how was it for you?
For me, it was just a new experience. We were into the same things. One thing I can't remember very vividly is us always playing with Ninja Turtles. So that was real hot back when we first met. So you know, we clicked right when we met each other. There was no I guess bad moments when we first met each other. It's like we've known each other all our lives, even though we met each other, you know, later on.
So it was real comfortable for you.
Yeah.
You know, no real stress. Nobody trying to fight for position or anything like that. You just gel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what about you, Tony?
Well, you know, being an only child for the first 9, 10 years of your life, you would think that you would always be somewhat selfish or something like that. But you know, met these guys, and it's like Jesse said, we all enjoyed the same things. And I mean, even me myself, it was, you know, it's kind of shocking that we were able to put however we got there aside instantly. Like there was no, okay, you know, your mom came around. No, it was never a bickering issue as it related to our parents' personal life. It was always just us, you know, and that's the way we looked at it. I mean, we lived in a house where we had the whole upstairs. I mean, it ain't like it was a bunch of rooms up there. Nothing. It was just one big room upstairs, and that was ours. And you know, in the beginning, I don't remember when it stopped, but like when y'all was, you know, on certain weekends or weeks you was with your mom. And I mean, I'm at home by myself, and mind you, I've always been at home by myself. I'm supposed to be comfortable. You know, I'm here by myself. But it was like I just wanted those guys around. And that's why, you know, I think that's why I still like that today.
So wow, it was difficult with you when they were not there.
Yeah.
You know, so that was something pretty strange, I guess. You had developed a relationship to the point where you expected them to be with you on a consistent basis.
Right.
You know, so.
But it's still, you know, they still, whatever arrangement was going on, they still had to abide by that. I mean, we were all kids. We go where we're told to go, you know, and things like that. And it didn't bother me to the point of, man, like, I wish they were here type deal. It's just, it bothered me because I honestly thought that it shouldn't have. You know, and it's like, you've been by yourself all this time. It's like, now you got two guys that you want to be with, and now all of a sudden you feel like you're inseparable. You're like, you haven't really even known them that long, but that's the way kids are. You know, we meet each other, like, oh man, that's my guy. And y'all just go from there.
So all you guys were able to deal with each other. You guys were able to move forward. But in the process, you two came from a relationship that was basically where your mom and your dad separated and divorced. And then your dad remarries. And then so you went into that relationship. There was no anxiety, no anger, no animosity.
For me, no. Like I say, when that happened, I was too young to really even remember that time. So that really didn't affect me emotionally, at least not to my understanding.
And when I'm talking about the anger, I'm talking about the anger towards your parents, towards your dad. You know, did you feel that betrayed or anything like that?
I can say no. Both our parents, you know, all three of our parents, I should say, it had always been a loving atmosphere regardless. They didn't want us to see that side or whatever what was going on. So it was just, to us, it was more so, or at least to me, it was weird because it didn't make sense. But
what
I
didn't
just
make
went
sense?
with it.
What didn't make sense to you at that point?
Basically, the breakup. Like, why are we splitting? Like, that don't make sense. But regardless of if we were with our mother or if we were with our father, we had a good time. We knew we were loved, and that's what they taught us as well. And then when Tony came along, it was the same thing. Dad made sure that that we weren't at odds and to love each other regardless. He didn't have to tell us that, but he wanted to make sure that we were that way. I mean, it's too many families now where you got family members, blood siblings that don't like each other. So
Like to the point of killing each other.
yeah, which is so strange to us.
Like, I don't even know how you fathom that. Like, I don't know what they would have to do. I haven't experienced anything like that in my life. I mean, I think we've seen some pretty terrible things, whether in our own personal life or on TV, on the news rather, not necessarily TV. And it's just that brotherly love that you have for your brother that the Lord provides you with is something that can't be taken away. You know what I mean? When you love somebody, you love them. That with all type of love you have, it allows you to forgive them for things and to see through things that, okay, yeah, it seems as though he did something bad to me, but he probably didn't mean it the way I perceived it. You know, those types of things that keep you in line with just the harmony of the situation. Like, not necessarily being naive or anything like that, but that ain't the way it is. You know, maybe I'm just having a bad day as the perceiver, if that's what you want to say, as opposed to whatever it was. They said maybe they were having a bad day and maybe I should have went and approached them to see what was going on with them, as opposed to, oh man, what's you? You know what I'm saying? It never really was like that.
And you brought up a good point. You said it never was like that. So what made it so so loving for you? I mean, to the point where you accepted each other at such early point, in early stages, especially when the union came together. You know, what was the motivating factor?
I think it was the upbringing.
Okay.
We were rooted in church, and Jesse and I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and Tony did not, but he still had a level of God-fearing ideals taught to him as well. So we all knew God early, and so that was something that I think we just accepted and just knew what to do. I can't really explain it. It's natural.
So that's a good point. It was just natural for you to demonstrate love, you know, and because of being raised in the church and that environment, you already knew what it really meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, we did get on each other's nerves.
It wasn't all peaches and cream. We're not saying that.
Yeah.
But we never went to bed angry.
Right.
You know, that was something we were taught at an early age, never go to bed angry. And then, I mean, as it relates to just the companionship and the camaraderie, we did any and everything together. Whether it was playing basketball in the neighborhood, winning championships in our region, in junior league, playing together with men, worked, I'm not going to say slaved on TV, but worked really hard with our stepfather doing concrete, you know, and it was always that team atmosphere.
So basically, you're talking about being with your stepdad and with their father, and you did a lot of work in the construction business. Yeah, I mean, like all summer, or you know.
It depends. So when we're in school, it was pretty much the summer. I know when I got to college, it was whenever I had time out from school, I went and worked with my dad with construction. But I think it was good for me. It was a good learning experience. Just to have the responsibility of having a job, taking care of money. Because like when I was younger, you know, I blew my money the first time I get a chance. So
Yeah, he did.
So doing that kind of grounded me in the responsibilities of, you know, growing up. So that kind of helped me when I left here and went to Kentucky, which that was a scary process too. You know, not knowing anybody when I went down there. But I think that was a good process for me because going down there, I actually got closer to God down there because I had to depend more on Him since I didn't know anybody when I first got down there. So once I kind of got comfortable with the people within the church and everything, you know, a couple of my coworkers, I got close with them, so it kind of settled me in. But the first few months, definitely I had to really kind of get my relationship together with the Lord.
Yeah, but that was probably the most monumental thing is you moved into a new environment and here you are, a stranger, but what you did was you extended yourself and found a church, you know, and that comforted you and helped you.
Right.
You know. So, okay, now you guys are together. So how long did you stay together? I mean, I know you're still together, but
24 years.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Like
how long was it?
23, 24 years, something like that.
But before the second breakup with your parents and your parents, when you guys came together with Tony, how long was that process?
Oh.
You saying from then?
Yes, from the time when from the time that Edward and Jessup came into the household, you guys became a unit.
Oh, when they were always there?
Yeah, and then there was a breakup between your stepdad and your mom.
We were already grown by then.
Like we were that's their personal life has hardly ever affected us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than the simple fact of like if it got that drastic to the point of where they left, I knew it was probably bad on their end. Not them, but the parenting end. I knew it might have been kind of bad, but we never really explored it.
Okay.
You know,
because that's something, I mean, that's traumatic within itself.
Yeah.
And for you guys to tell me that you never really investigated or talked, I'm sure you talked about it.
Amongst each other?
Yes, amongst each other.
It was so much more better stuff to do.
Yeah, it was.
It was just better stuff to do.
It was like, that's their business.
Because it was like, you know, from the outside looking in, based on the way we are together anyway, from his parents separating to meeting, his dad meeting my mom, and to now that they're separated. I mean, if you start hinging your relationship on other things, and those other things fall to the wayside, your relationship's going to fall to the wayside. It's like our relationship was never really hinged on our parents.
Okay. And that's a good, good philosophy, but in many cases we recognize that there are many people who are unable to handle it like that.
Yeah.
And
but it happens at different times in those people's lives too. I mean, you get like, if say Edward and Jesse would have made it to be 18, 19 years old, and they grew up their whole life like that, then yeah, that might have been a little bit harder for them to take. I mean, they're grown men, they're stuck in their ways now. But when you take an 8, 9-year-old kid who really don't know up from down at that age mentally, I guess, you got some kids that do understand, and other kids that may not necessarily pay too much attention to it. But I mean, it really all deals with the repercussions of the split. Like, how bad was it for the kids during the split? Like, you get some kids that they get split and their homes get taken away. Their cars get taken away. Different things, they go from eating good to not eating at all. And these, fortunately for us, those weren't really any of the things that we really ever had to worry about was, food or shelter. Things like that. They knew that they had a home to go to. I knew I had a home to go to, and we knew we all had a place together to come to. So it was a certain uniqueness that really was involved with this situation. So let's move to the area of marriage. How do you guys feel about marriage? Especially, you.
Well, I don't have a problem with it. I think right now it's something tough for me to go into, because of that situations that my parents have had. I want to one day, but I guess my trust level right now, it's not there.
Are you dating or anything like that?
I'm dating. No one in particular now.
Okay.
I think that marriage is something that I'm going to take very slowly.
Okay.
I look at it to be a sacred union, and I want it to be better than what I saw and what I see in the world. Okay. I think that the way that God intended it is not being shared or shown to a lot of people. I can't say I haven't seen it in my life. My grandparents have been together for many years, and seeing them together and the love that they show towards each other, that is something that I would want one day.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, I'm about the same as it relates to taking marriage slowly, because of the different things that can happen involved in marriage. And me having a 4-year-old son now, I mean, it can happen to him the same way it happened to me. I can end up maybe separating from his mother and going on to maybe another woman or something like that. And she has a child, and then it could be this all over again. I just hope that I would be able to have what's the word I want to use? The patience and the will to protect my children like we were. We were protected from their lives. They made it their business to do that, to protect us from that. And that's what we got from it, was how to stay strong and how to hold up family, as opposed to foolishness involved in, in a relationship or anything else. It was family.
Excellent. Okay.
Marriage right now. Right now, I'm kind of far from that direction, but I'm not against marriage. I'm still looking around.
Are you dating?
Here and there. It's not real often, but I talk to people here and there. I like to get to know people a lot longer than certain people, so it might take me a little longer than others to kind of get to know people, because I don't really let people know how I feel right away. So it's a longer process for me. My outlook on the marriage thing and how my parents' situation kind of affected me, I just look towards when it comes my turn, I'm not going to take it lightly to who I choose to get married to, because it's a lifelong bond. And I don't take that seriously. Nowadays, people get married and like I got an out, I can get a divorce. But I don't look at marriage that way. It's a bond between you and God and your loved one. So take that very seriously.
One of the things that I want to bring out is the fact that even though you've gone through some of this adversity, you know, and I'm not saying it's just really traumatic that it prevented you from being strong men, you still managed to be responsible. You still managed to look on life from with a lot of the values that you were taught as youth. What would you say to someone that may be experiencing their parents going through divorce, or some young person, a teenager? How would you encourage that person?
I would tell that teenager to be an optimist. Always try to find that the grass is greener on the other side. Try to find the positive in whatever negative you're going through. And the only way you're going to really do that is to make sure God's right there with you. Your blood's one thing, but the blood of Christ is another.
Amen.
I would want them to, or let them know, hold on to the love that they've shown towards you. That will help you get you through. And also developing a relationship with God yourself, because He's our Heavenly Father, and that's someone you can also talk to as well. He will give you insight, and it will definitely help. You have to just listen. I spent many nights not listening, and I can say now that I'm trying to listen more.
Anyone?
I would say definitely don't be selfish. Selfish will beget anger. And it's just like Edward just said, just enjoy the love that they both shared towards you. Because one thing's for sure, if you allow it as a child, that love will still be there. It might not be all there at the same time, but you'll know that when you're with your mom, you're with your mom. When you're with your father, you're with your father. The only difference is that you may not be with them together again, but who knows? The Lord might still spin it back around and you guys be right back together. But as it relates to right now, if you're going through a separation situation, I mean, I'm not going to say let it be yeah, just let it be, but try to be a passenger and not a driver in the situation.
I heard each and every one of you talk about God. And your relationship with God. And I know that being brought up in the church, that made a major impact. But we're losing so many of our youth and young adults, are turning away from God. So what would you say to them to encourage them to, really continue to develop their relationship with God?
I guess you have to start with looking where they started from and where they are now. Because there's so many things you can actually go through your life and see, how did I make it through this? How did I make it through this? How did I make it through this? I mean, if you can actually tally up those things that you know that you shouldn't have got out of, I mean, that's a testimony in itself. So, I mean, that's the starting point, that you can start from seeing where God has led you. Even though things might not be looking good at that point, you're still here today. So that's the starting point for me.
And I mean, just like Job, how Job everything was taken away from him, but he still loved and respected the Lord. And, some people ask for things that honestly the Lord doesn't necessarily want them to have, and then they get angry with God when they don't get it. It's ask for things that are good and wholesome, and worry about going straight and narrow as opposed to wide and deep and all kinds of other ways. Don't ask the Lord to help you hit the lottery, something like that. Just ask the Lord to bless you with maybe something to eat that day. Let's not go as far as kind of be mad at God because you didn't hit the lottery, And that's a lot of people, if your God is who your God is, how come this isn't happening? You get a lot of that when you believe in God.
So your relationship with God seems pretty deep, So do you ask Him to help you to make the changes that's going to improve your life on a consistent basis?
You have to. You have to seek Him. If you don't, and you do what you want to do, you'll end up in positions and places where you didn't expect to be or you don't want to be. I would rather be in those positions seeking His guidance and knowing that He'll get me through and that I'm just going through trials, and not opposed to doing my own thing and going through stuff that I put stuff upon myself.
How do you encourage young men, especially young men, because our young men are definitely going through some trials and tribulations. So how do you encourage young men that God is the answer, that he will assist you, he will provide for you? And what would you say to them?
Sometimes you gotta kind of share some experiences you've been through to kind of let them know that you've been through stuff too. So, you know, let them know that they're not alone with going through problems, because I share some stuff with my friends, you know, stuff that I've been through. But, you know, they need that at the time. So sometimes they need to know that they're not the only ones that have problems. So that's kind of helps people out to know, like, I'm not alone in the struggle. So,
And I agree with that, because I've gone through some things and I ask God, like, why? I don't understand. And then the moment I share that with someone else that went through something, then I understand. I said, we have to go through it to help others out. So,
Man, that's pretty powerful, you know. So here you are as brothers, you know, on the verge of moving to another level. Employment is good. You've worked real hard, you know. What's your goals for your future now?
well, I can say that I do want to push forward and finding that someone for me. I do want to be married. So
You do want to be married?
Yes.
Okay.
And I want, through my success, I want to make sure that I have a background to help my family out when it comes.
Excellent, excellent.
Just to move forward as positively as I can. I mean, I understand that, you know, things might not all be peaches and cream, but just to be as positive as I possibly can and continue moving forward. You know, the positive mentality begets positive things.
Okay, a few seconds.
my goal is just to be able to continue to help family and friends and whoever else is in need. So that's all I try to do, is just help when I can.
It's been great, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to come in and really give some insight on our program. I really enjoyed talking to you, and you've given me some wisdom as far as how to really address some of the areas where our young men are experiencing some difficulties. And yet, going through the difficulties, you guys have indicated that God is the way that you handle those difficulties, and I think that's really important. So I appreciate you coming on the program, and we appreciate you for listening to Making It Work. Thank you, and God bless.